In the late 1960s, George Hurst was able to work with General Motors and Oldsmobile to create the Hurst Olds, a specially outfitted Oldsmobile 442 that came with additional features and style beyond the regular 442. The 69 models are particularly interesting because they came with a 455 cubic inch V8 installed from the factory, but that engine was not available in any Oldsmobile Cutlass or 442 until 1970. We recently met with Gary Riley from Level 1 Restorations at the 10th anniversary Muscle Car and Corvette National Show in Chicago, as Gary presented the freshly restored 1969 Hurst Olds prototype car, a new addition to the Brothers collection. And this car is also one that resides in the Brothers collection. And if you watch Muscle Car of the Week, you know we feature a lot of cars from the Brothers collection.
Yeah, and really the whole story of them having this car started with the Hurst Olds convertible that they have. That's one of two. And really when I saw the article on this car, I don't know, it was maybe in 2012, I really thought, well, that's a car that we need to go after. For them to own to go along with the convertible, and it took a few years and ended up coming to auction, and I was just really excited about that and making phone calls and really having a vision for what actually happened here at that time, and fortunately my customers stepped up and bought the car, and I think they made a good choice.
These cars were generally fully loaded with all kinds of accessories like AM/FM stereo, air conditioning, tilt wheel, bucket seats, cruise control, and other creature comforts, making them speedy, stylish, and enjoyable to drive. Special features of the 69 Hurst Olds include the modified 455 V8 and Turbo 400 automatic transmission, shifted by a Hurst dual-gate shifter, of course. The ram air hood scoop was special, 15 by 7 inch super stock 2 wheels that were unique, and special racing mirrors. The 455 was rated at 380 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque thanks to special heads and ignition, and rocketed these cars to over 104 miles per hour in the quarter mile. Part of the challenge of restoring the prototype was getting the original details right.
Fortunately for us in history, they recorded a lot of this with a lot of nice photographs, and we were able to, when this car was found and discovered, it went through a couple of owners, we were able to recreate exactly how it looked in the most famous prototype rendition.
Hurst Olds cars were painted in a cameo white and firefrost gold scheme with special stripes, and they featured body modifications that were also unique. But the prototype was a bit different. One of the more striking visual elements of the prototype car was the special rear wing, which was referred to today as the elephant tusk wing, as the end caps curl down the side of the quarter panels, resembling the arched tusks of elephants. Many of these pieces were lost over the years. It certainly didn't look like this when it was re-identified. Were the signature pieces still intact or there, or how'd it go?
Well, no, it looked exactly like a production line Hurst Olds, so all of the historic pieces were totally lost. In fact, the rear wing, the elephant tusk wing, was thrown away when they decided that they weren't going to go with that. They just tossed it. So the one thing that remained on the car for years was the pearl paint job, and that was an indicator that it was something special. As they were doing some of the work to it, they started finding some weird telltale signs that this car was something special. So the wing is very radical, you know, comes out around the sides of the car. The rear glass, on the other hand, they continued the Hurst Olds stripe that goes down the roof right through the back window, and they like that. But they feared that the Department of Transportation would not accept, you know, that obstruction through the back window. So they ultimately gave that a thumbs down as well. The neat part is that the original rear glass had always stayed in the car, and there's evidence of, you know, the original stripe on the glass, which they just scraped away. And so we turned that into a sign that we have out here on display. So a really neat thing they almost did.
This 69 Hurst Olds prototype joins another unbelievably rare Hurst Olds in the Brothers collection, and that is the 69 Hurst Olds convertible, which was one of just 3 produced and only 2 survive. You can see more about that car in episode number 11, and another 69 Hurst Olds from the Brothers collection in episode 69 of Muscle Car of the Week.